Hi, it's Dave from DaBelly, and we're at NAMM. It's kind of an unusual thing. We're talking to a band today, Michael from Sunflower Dead. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Been running around like a fool, but everybody will see that when you watch our videos, and you will watch our videos, all right? That means you too.
I will. Give me the link and I'll watch it.
Well, welcome to NAMM, and congratulations on your latest album. It's Time to Get Weird. Tell me a little bit about it.
It really was the culmination of 3 years of touring, our debut, and you know, it's funny, we kind of took notes the whole time to figure out what was working, what wasn't, and I know most bands maybe don't do that, but we did, and it really is like the culmination of that time on the road. And even the title came from being on the road. Our guitar player started saying, well, let's go get weird, because we would be the only band in makeup and standing there, no one knew who we were, and we looked like idiots, and I have an accordion, and he's like, all right, it's time to get weird. And we would then we started saying it, and then our fans who were called the Evil Seed started saying it, and we were like, well, what could be a more fitting title for the record? And now it's the second single, which comes out in a month, and then the video comes out Monday with Jonathan from Korn on it. Jonathan Davis. Thank you, John.
And that kind of segues where I was going to ask. I was going to ask a little bit later, but since you mentioned Jonathan Davis, it's amazing you got him on your video. Tell me how that all came together. Yeah.
Well, he, as Jamie, our guitar player, the It's Time to Get Weird guy, he has been friends with all the guys in Korn since well before they were Korn. He actually took guitar lessons from Monkey. And this is when he goes, they weren't even LAPD at this time. They were just James and, whatever. And so he's been friends with them a long time. And, we went over and toured with them in Europe this summer for their 20th anniversary reunion album, whatever the hell it was. And that was cool. And then, Jamie just called John and said, actually, the true story is that we were talking to record labels after we recorded It's Time to Get Weird. And a record label, and we didn't sign to them, but they looked at us and they said, why don't you guys ask Jonathan from Korn to sing on your song? And we were like, we never thought of that, and we're friends with him, so we're like, okay, we're not going to sign to you, but thanks for the idea. So Jamie called him up, or he texted him, he said, hey, you want to sing on a record? And John was like, yeah, come to Bakersfield. And we did, and we went to his studio, and I showed him the song, and I gave him my lyrics, and he just and then we riffed a little bit, and it was done. And then we went back to his house and hung out, and it was great.
It sounds like magic, yeah.
It was easy, and it was magic. I mean, he's the nicest dude. He's so laid back, and it was great.
So back to the album. Who produced your album? Who did you work with on this?
Dave Forman, who's done Evanescence's first two records, and Slipknot, and Mudvayne, and Godsmack, and he's just a genius, a mad, crazy genius. And Mikey Doling from Snot, the guitar player from Snot, they co-produced it. So it was an amazing mixture of Dave's mad genius and Mikey's. Mikey has this incredible positive attitude with music, and the ability to listen to your stuff, and he'll take a song and he rounds out all the edges, so all of a sudden you're like, oh, you feel good about certain things that you didn't feel before. And then Dave specifically with me, with the vocals, he's a singer, even though he won't admit it, and he's pitch perfect, so he would hear what I was doing and just sing to me the harmonies, and I would record them. It was incredible to work with him.
Producers can add so much to a record. These guys sounds like they were very hands-on for you.
Totally hands-on. We would send them live demos. We wrote the record very old school. We sat in our studio. We wrote as a band together. We would press record on our little recording unit, and then with a couple microphones, and send Mikey and Dave the recordings. No Pro Tools, no drum machines, none of that. And there's nothing wrong with that, but we didn't email each other tracks. It was, here's the song, and then they would call us and say, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Then we did a week of pre-production in the studio with them, and then we lived in a cabin out by, where were we? Out by Palm Desert for a month, and just cracked a record and had a good time.
I can think of worse things. Get a few beers in there and you're set. Yeah.
There was a lot of beers for a lot of people, so it was fun. Not this guy, but other people. There was a lot of beer cans every day.
It sounds like a great time. Their album's been out for a few months now. You must have done some touring. Where you been?
We haven't done any touring since the record's been out. We toured in June and July in Europe with Snot and Korn, and then we came home. And there were a couple tours that looked like they were going to happen, and they didn't happen, and we decided to just hold back, work radio and press, and let this Sunflower Dead thing grow, and really wait for the right tour that's going to give us the best exposure. Because I notice it nowadays, especially in the rock and metal world, everybody's gung-ho to tour, but then bands are getting burnt out. especially bands like, if you're a band from the what I call the old industry and you had a major label 10 years ago who kind of, you know, paid for you to get to where you are and you had success, well, you can, your pedigree, you can live off that, right?
Absolutely.
And you can make money, and, you know, but if you're a new band like us, you don't have that pedigree, so everything you're doing is just to get out to the public. And if you stay out on the road constantly, you get burnt out. I've seen a lot of bands, and this is only our second record, bands that have started after us and broken up already because they're burnt out and tired. So
I get it. You know, it is about taking steps, but it's about taking the right steps.
Right steps. And even though I go to our manager, who I just was walking around with, like, can we go on tour now? He's like, hold on, let's wait for the right one because it has to count. He goes, it has to count. It's better that it counts and you guys are healthy and invigorated and honest when you're performing than just burn out playing every night and saying, oh, we're road dogs. Well, who cares? Who cares if you're a road dog? Did it matter? Did it count?
Absolutely. So this is your second album. There's been a few years in between the two albums. I'm sure there's a growth that you're aware of more than your fans. Sometimes the fans hear the music and they say, well, you've grown in these areas, but other times the band's got different perspective. I'm just interested in what your thoughts are and the growth and what the dynamics and the changes have happened over the two records.
Well, there's been a lot of growth, and I kind of stated that earlier with just the notes we took from touring and what we learned about ourselves. But, you know, when we did our first record, we purposely did it a certain way, almost so it sounded raw. I don't want to say sloppy, but raw. So when we did this record, I knew we wanted it to sound very polished, purposely, and then you add all the growth we did, and now you have a really polished, really centered record called It's Time to Get Weird, which is exactly what we're doing, you know, and bring an element of fun and looseness to rock and roll in our kooky little way. And I think it comes across really well on the record because it's a nice balance of being extremely serious, but also being tongue-in-cheek at times, and you know, little light at times, but also heavy. It's a light and dark, nice balance. Not the Led Zeppelin light and shade, but you know, that nice zing. But that's what Sunflower Dead is. It's the yin and yang. You know, Sunflower Dead is the beauty and ugliness, which I think, and some people say when they see us live, it's not like a aggro kind of metal thing. It's more like this combination of beauty and insanity. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. I didn't realize that, but yeah, it really is that. You know, it's not that tough guy aggro thing. It's more this jokingly insanity thing. It's like Heath Ledger's Joker. Like, you know, it's not right, but you kind of like it.
Well, the point that it was not right was just what it was all about. It was great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's, you know, it's a tongue-in-cheek type thing, and I think I really believe that's what It's Time to Get Weird does for us on this record, with sounding very polished.
So it's amazing. I mean, as young Michael, you know, starting his hair on fire and jumping off the coffee table with his accordion, what was influencing you? Were you more of a Frankie Yankovic or a Weird Al kind of guy?
No, I mean, I have no background with the accordion. I didn't listen to it. I'll tell you what, I play the piano, and I play it in Sunflower Dead, but it just was literally one day when I was young, I said, you know what? I'm going to go buy an accordion because it probably would be challenging and fun and different, and I just figured I knew the way it sounded, and I figured I could make it sound really creepy. It just drones, you know what I'm saying? It just has that weird breathing thing to it. And the first time I picked it up, it just felt right. It was like, oh yeah, this works. It's the stupidest, most ridiculous instrument in the world, the way it looks and in rock. Yeah, I mean, I can't take it seriously, but it's so cool. And actually, on a musical standpoint, it's like the piano. I mean, you really, from a musical standpoint, get the whole spectrum of music, rhythm, harmony, and melody. And, you know, you just learn so much about music by playing that kind of instrument, where a guitar bass is a little more centered on what they do, you know. So, and it just felt right, and people started, some interviewer called it my inhuman lung years ago, and I was like, that's great, but it feels literally like it's a extension of my body. So it works, and when people don't know us and we walk out on stage, which was like every night on the first touring cycle, I would come out by myself with the accordion, and they'd start going, Urkel, Weird Al Yankovic, right? And then I would play it, and then all of a sudden they would shut up, and all the the iPhone screens would light up, and they'd all be filming me. So
well, it's the magic that makes it all work.
Yeah.
All right.
I guess.
Is there anything I missed? I'm kind of at the end of my questions.
What did you miss? The new video comes out Monday, which is animated. It's Time to Get Weird. Features Jonathan. It's my favorite video we've ever done. Yahoo Music is debuting it. It's really twisted and funny. It's like a Scooby-Doo cartoon, but with Sunflower Dead and Jonathan Davis. It's awesome. And then this Time to Get Weird goes to radio February 16th. And then we have our CD release show on February 5th in Southern California. And then we have a couple other shows we're going to do, and touring soon, and hopefully getting weird with a lot of weirdos, Evil Seeds.
Well, thank you much for your time today.
Thank you so much.